So before starting at integrative wellness centers, my health was pretty bad. I was sick for about 4 years with really bad digestive health issues. I had been hospitalized a couple of times while traveling with really bad digestive health issues and various bugs that I kept catching every time I left the country. So I'd actually gone from being someone who did a lot of traveling to feeling that I had to completely stop traveling. My diet was really restricted. I was taking a lot of supplements and was at a point with my health where I was able to survive day to day, but I wasn't really living my best life. My energy was really low. I felt sick all the time, so it was pretty poor. My symptoms were primarily digestive, so I had bloating, gas pain, diarrhea, and then also I didn't realize this until I started to feel better, but I had really low energy and a lot of fatigue, and it didn't become clear to me. I thought it was just because I'd quit coffee, but it was actually a much bigger issue that now has reversed quite a bit. I went to a lot of different doctors, and technically all of my endoscopies and colonoscopies have always come back perfectly healthy. And so because they couldn't see any disease or issue, they never wanted to do anything about it. And so I was just kind of labeled with irritable bowel syndrome. Working with Dr. Koviak has been like rainbows and butterflies compared to everything else. I love her. I've been trying to get my whole family to come here. So the care is just unbelievable. And I feel very accounted for here and seen, and here, even if we don't have a name for exactly what the issue is, the fact that I have symptoms is problematic, and we're going to address the symptoms rather than just saying, well, we don't have a diagnosis, so we don't have a treatment. So that's been just a world of difference. Yeah, I love working with Dr. Koviak.
Yeah,
she's great.
She's awesome. I love her. She's so good.
Yeah, and she gives me a hug every time I see her, which I love. Yeah, I feel really like accounted for. Yeah. If anything, the testing that I had was affirming for me because it showed a lot of problems, a lot of like deficiencies in nutrition. You know, you could almost say in some ways I was malnourished, and even though I was on a healthy diet, something that I had SIBO before and I had gotten rid of it, but what I hadn't had is proper education about SIBO, and now I've had the education here of how to prevent this from becoming an issue again in the future. So we did a symptoms assessment where you're rating all your symptoms 1 to 4 when I first came in, and you know, I don't know what the highest possible score is, but like the higher the number, more symptoms, right? And so my first score was something like, I think it was like 75, and then a month ago I did the symptom questionnaire again and it was like 35. So we had cut my symptoms in half in just a few months. So that alone has been amazing. And also it was cool because I hadn't really stopped to take stock of how I was doing, and it was cool to be asked not just like what do your tests say, but like how do you actually feel, because that's what matters. People are often intimidated by the cost that they think it's going to cost them compared to, you know, traditional Western medicine that's covered by insurance, which has been very heartbreaking for me, because when I think about how well I've gotten and the actual cost of the medical care that I had before. So if you take insurance companies out of the equation, the hospitalizations that I've had and the medical testing and the doctor's appointments, like the amount of money that I'm actually spending on my health right now is dramatically less than all of the cost that's been spent by Western medicine. So I would just encourage anybody who feels deterred by that to like really consider their priorities a little bit differently. And so for me, like my husband and I just really reassessed our finances and realized that if health was such a priority, that everything else didn't matter quite as much. You know, and it can be expensive, but like I would spend 10 times as much if I had it on my health care. So that was one thing I wanted to share. And